Welcome to this video. In this video, we're looking at how to install Server 2012 and set it up as a domain controller. So it's a fresh install. I have nothing. So I'm doing this all through VMs. I'm going to go and create a new VM. I happen to have all of my VMs stored in an ISO folder, and we are doing Windows Server 2016. We're going to go ahead and do standard. We need to make sure, you know what, for right now, we don't need a password because we're going to have to be setting up passwords. So standard, I'm skipping the product key. I want that to be server 2016 DC1 because I'm going to be doing several labs where they're going to be called different things. I want to save all my VMs in a specific location, DC1. For now, default hard drive is fine. I do want to customize the hardware because this whole 2 gigs is not going to be enough. 4 gigs, and I'm going to set 2 and 2. You know what? Let's do 8 gigs. Finish. And go ahead and let the VM start. I don't have global printing installed, and that is okay. The setup process shouldn't take super long. I'm doing this on a higher end i7. I'm doing this on a M.2 storage, so the setup should go fairly quickly. For this portion, pretty much follow the on-screen prompts. I'm going to pause the video so we don't have to go through all of this, but yeah, any prompts that pop up that are important, I will resume the video, but pretty much just follow the on-screen prompts. Okay, so actually I got no prompts. It finished the installation, and it ran through everything. So, one thing that I do want to point out, because I'm building a lab environment, is I have more than just one server. So we can do this several different ways. We can, apparently it's going to restart. We can install 3 different servers and then update them individually, which that may not be the worst idea, or we can do a template of this guy and clone them out. Alright, so it's going to restart a few more times, but the installation process only took about 10 minutes, so we're good there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this machine fully updated, and then we will go back and do some configurations. Okay, so all I did was a bunch of Windows updates, made sure that they're all installed, and once I've done that, I'm almost ready to go. Because again, I've got to build out my infrastructure. I have to be able to either do several copies of this machine or install them individually. So what I want to do is I want to sysprep them so that I don't have to do that. So I'm going to run sysprep. I want to generalize. I want it to shut down. So what will happen is it will give me the OOBE, it will generalize it, and then it will shut down. What that allows me to do is make 3 copies of this, because I want one for DC1, one for DC2, and one for a SharePoint. So I will sysprep it. And once it's done sysprepping, it will shut down. Once it shuts down, I'm going to make actually I won't even do that. Once this is done, I'm going to turn this guy into a template, or I will clone it, and I will push it out that way. All right, notice it is shutting down, and it is shut down. Manage. I want to clone. Because I did sysprep, I can do this. If you do not do sysprep, don't clone them like this. Current state, we want a full clone. We're going to call the one will be called DC2. And again, we want to save that D drive, VMs, DC2. Let it clone out. We're going to have to do 2 more just in case. The goals of these videos will be 2 domain controllers, a subdomain controller, and a standalone server. All right, cloning is done. You'll notice that, there we go. So I again want to clone out DC1, a full clone. We want a standalone 1. I again want to save it on my D drive. Oh. D drive, VMs 2016, standalone 1. With the OBC experience and it being generalized, we're going to have to create users for all of them. It will walk us through that initial out-of-box experience. OODB is out-of-box experience. Out-of-box experience. OOBE, out-of-box experience. All right, there we have our second standalone machine. Not snapshot. We will do clone. Full. We want this to be again standalone 2. And again, we're going to be putting this on D drive, VMs, standalone 2. And we will let it run. We're going to ignore the standalones for now, because for our needs, we don't need them at this moment. All right, so I have, all right, this one's kind of weird. So I'm going to get rid of the space in front of it. All right, I created a folder called Server 2016. I'm going to stick all my VMs in it. I want to make sure there's no blank spaces or anything. All right, so let's go and power on each of our machines. So we can do some basic setup of them. I do love having the Sim.2 because I can power on several VMs without a problem. All right. Because again, they were sys-prepped, and they were sys-prepped correctly. We can duplicate them the way that we duplicated them. Otherwise, they get really weird. They may restart a few times, and that's okay, that's normal. I happen to have this on NAT, and for our environment, that's okay. All right, so I'm in the US, keyboard, that's all fine. We're going to skip the product keys. We're going to accept the update center. Go ahead and supply a complex password. And we're going to do that for each of them. All right. I can type today, I swear. The two standalone machines, same thing. Just that way we can make sure that our environment is ready to be configured. Our last standalone machine. Do this later. Accept. All right. On DC1, I'm going to go ahead and log in. And once I've logged in, what I want to do is I want to wait for the server manager to populate. Yep, go and allow PCs to find me. Because I want to name them. I want to make sure that they're named correctly. Oh, the VMware tools. I have 5 services that are stopped. They just take a few minutes to turn on. Or you can manually start them on and that will clear the service errors. The service is slightly starting, so I'm going to give it a few minutes and come back. Okay, there we go. I want to go to local server. I want to change this to DC1. So before I restart, I'm going to do some configuration changes first. Restart later. I want to internet enhanced security for my accounts. I want them turned off. For IPv6, okay, we are going to be setting our IP addresses to static addresses. 192. So first of all, verify your infrastructure. Make sure you know your addresses. In mine, I'm allowed to use the one network. 192.168.1.2. And so for now, I'm going to be using just Google's DNS, but we're going to be modifying this in later labs once we set up DNS. All right. Once I've done that, I'm going to restart this guy. I'm going to hop over to DC2. I'm going to log into DC2. I'm going to wait for Server Manager to pop back. Local server. We're going to make the same changes. DC2. I'm not going to restart quite yet. Yep. Close, restart later. I'm going to turn off enhanced security for IE. I'm going to change our IP settings. Again, make sure you know the structure in your network. I'm allowed to use the one network. Default gateway for me is 2. And again, I'm using Google's DNS just to start with. I'm going to hop over to standalone server 1. You know what? For these guys, they're not super critical at the moment, but I'm still going to hop in and I'm going to change their name and set a static IP address to them. We're not going to use them a whole lot, but it's okay. I'm going to change the name to standalone 1. I'm not going to restart it yet. Wait for this guy to pop up. Okay, close, restart later. Enhance security. I want off. Ethernet. Again, I'm going to be setting the IP addresses. 10, 11, 12. 1.2. DNS, I'm going to be using Google's DNS for now. Restart for that guy. All right, get the last server up and running. All right, standalone 2. Right now we're just naming them standalone 1, standalone 2 because depending on their purpose, their names may change. Turning off enhanced security. And lastly, changing IP address settings. This was .10, .11, .12. So this one is going to be .13. 2. All right. Again, we're using Google's DNS. All right. So that's restarting. I'm going to hop over to DC1. I'm going to go ahead and log into it. Make sure everything is good. I'm getting unidentified network access, so I'm going to give it a minute. The services are on a auto delay, so they will start when they're needed, and there's a start delay on them, so that's okay. Let's go ahead and set up IE. Let's go to Google. Okay, it just took a minute to pop up. Internet is working. One last thing just to make sure. Ping IP address. Yes, it does. Ping google.com. All right. So internet's working. My machine is named the correct name. Internet security is off. IP is off. So we are good. So this concludes a setup of this infrastructure. Our next video is going to be focusing on setting up DNS and Active Directory, but for what we're doing here, this is all we need. Thank you.